Now, first witness, Your Honor.
Until August 29th.
Okay. You get a cover letter dated August 29th. It's actually an email. This is from Mr. Gummer. Our offices would like to retain your services in the above-mentioned case. Kindly advise of any conflicts, and they tell you when the trial date is set, correct?
Yes.
All right, that's what that says?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to mark this a little bit, but that's the date that you were actually notified in writing by Mr. Gummer, the fact that we're going to retain you. August 29th, right?
Yes.
You can hang on to that. I'll come back to it in just a minute.
Okay.
Oops. 29 August. Retained. Would that be fair?
Okay.
All right. Put RET for retained. Now, you had actually gotten a call from Mr. Gummer. You got on the telephone with Mr. Gummer, and he told you a little bit about the case, right?
Yes.
And that was on this same date?
Or just in juxtaposition to that date.
All right, so it might have been the day before, it might have been the day after.
Yes.
All right, now, is it true you got a cover letter from Mr. Gummer dated September 12th of 2012, which said attached to the initial set of records?
September 12th, 2012.
September, now approach again, Jeff. So on September 12th, I see that, you get a letter from Mr. Gummer, and it says, I enclose an expert binder, that's the black binder,
Yes.
and it says, with the following documents, and then it says, among other things, plaintiff's complaint, amended complaint, answers to interrogatories, and then it recites various medical records, including the back center, Dr. Madlander, Dr. Weiss, and other folks, right?
Yes.
All right, so that's when you get the binder.
Yes.
And then you got the discs there with a cover letter that came, that would have been
September 14th.
15. All right, so I'll put here 12 and 14 to record. All right. Now, you obviously could not have given your opinion to the defense lawyers about this case back on the 29th because you hadn't even received the records.
Yes.
Right. That makes sense. Right. In this particular case, I'd like you to assume that on August 30th, we received a notice from the defense that you are going to be testifying as the orthopedic expert in this case, supporting their position. That's on the 30th. Okay? 30th of August.
I have an objection. He wants to approach.
Dr. Zeide,
Yes.
I'm going to refer to Exhibit B, which is entitled Defendant's Third Amended Witness List, dated August 30th, 2012. I'll just show that to you. You see that? Stated
I
August
can't,
30th.
my vision's not that good.
All right. You see the date? August 30th, 2012?
No. Yes.
Okay. And then it's signed by one of the defense lawyers there, Mr. Gummer,
I can't.
right there?
Yes.
Okay. And then this is entitled Defendant's Third Amended Witness List. And if we go to the witness list, they list on page 9 of the witness list, and I'll let you see it. These are witnesses they're going to call at this trial, in their case. Dr. Michael Zeide, orthopedic expert, professional orthopedics at Palm Beach. You see that?
Preferred orthopedics in the Palm Beaches, yes.
Okay. So, what has happened is you talk to the defense around the 29th, agreed to testify. They're listing you as an expert who will be testifying in this case. You've testified in cases for their law firm before?
Yes.
All right, they've got offices throughout the state of Florida.
Yes.
And you testified for Mr. Tarlow in cases as well as other lawyers in their firm.
Yes.
All right, and in this case, they have notified us that you are going to support them by being a witness in this case before you've even given your opinions, because it is clear that they know by bringing you on board, you're going to support them 1, 2, 3 down the line on every issue. Isn't that true?
Objection, argumentative, and mistakes.
Judge, that's a fair question.
No, that's not a fair question at all. The reason is I had a brief telephone conversation with Mr. Gummer, who I never met before, and he described the details of the mechanism of injury, and he asked me several thoughts offhand, without going through the records. Do you think that a person can develop cervical dystonia 3 years later from a head-butting accident? Did he ask me if you could develop any other conditions from resulting from this? And I believe, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I believe that is the gist of it.
Well, Doctor, I asked you about that in your deposition. You remember that?
Yes.
I asked you about your conversation with Mr. Gummer, and I said that I wanted to know exactly what he told you. All right?
And I said, I don't remember exactly what he told me.
All right. I said, was it a brief synopsis that he gave you? Answer. And I'm on page 6, by the way.
Should I get my copy out?
Sure. I have an extra copy.
Okay.
Where do you get your copy?
Sure.
That's easiest. Every deposition.
I have it. I reviewed it. Okay. Page 6.
Page 6 of the transcript.
Yes, sir.
All right. And I asked you in the deposition, what was the brief synopsis that he gave you? And by the way, before that moment, meaning before the moment of the call, Dr. Zeide, you knew nothing about the case, right?
Correct.
All right. Basically said that Mr. Adams, who was a gentleman who was a software programmer, and I'm not sure if I remember exactly what he said to me, or I'm putting together what I've listened from the medical records. Question. Just do your best and tell me as best as you can what you remember him telling you about the case when you first had the contact. Answer. And this is what Mr. Gummer told me. He said it was an unusual situation in which an accident occurred and then the car was pulled onto a dealer's lot. Some altercation occurred between one of the people nearby, Mr. Adams, and the manager of the car lot. They butted heads. And then it involved some treatment for a period of time for that condition. And then several years later, there was an abrupt new development of findings that constellated into development of cervical dystonia and treatment for his neck and mid-back and lower back. and he wanted to know if I was familiar with cervical dystonia, and I said I was. And he said, we reviewed the metaphors. Is that the facts that he gave you at that time?
Yes.
All right. So they're holding you out as an expert well before you had reviewed the details in the medical records. Is that true?
I'm not a lawyer, but it appears to be
You saw
true.
the document, doctor. Is that true?
Yes.
All right. Judge, I have no other questions. Are you ready?
You want this back, sir?